surge. Rise. Heaven surge. Rise. Heaven surge. Break.
Okay, so I completed the abundance path, and then I completed the remembrance path, and I also completed my last path, the hunt path. That was a pain in the butt. If you're still grinding out the swarm disaster, here's how you can get every single buff. So inside the commuting trail, they tell you what you need to do in the trail of Pathstrider. For all the ones on the left, there are different objectives you need to complete. However, the ones on the right, you have to make 20 choices within the swarm disaster for each of the paths. So 20 destruction, 20 nihility, 20 remembrance, so on and so on. Now the hardest one to get is the hunt, because they don't give you that many selections and they're buried deeper in the swarm disaster to be able to get those. So the way the swarm disaster works are there are 3 of these planes, and each plane has a boss at the end of it. And when you beat the boss, that's when you can make a selection to one of these different paths. After you beat the boss, you're presented with one of these Trailblaze secrets, and then each one has, it's kind of like a story, and there are different parts, and each part has a different path that you can select. Okay, so to find the Trailblaze secrets, you can go here, and it shows you all the, I guess, the stories and all the different parts. Now each, when you first get into the plane, the first plane is randomly assigned to you. So the way it is, part 1 is first plane, second plane, third plane, and then if there's a part 4, that goes back to the first plane, second plane, third plane, and then if it goes to part 7, this is the only one I think goes part 7, that's the first plane, again, second plane, third plane. So when you launch the swarm disaster, and let's say if you get part 4, if you beat that boss, then you get the selection of whatever's in part 4. And then the second boss will be part 5, and third boss will be part 7, and so on and so on. So that's pretty straightforward, but now here's where it gets a little bit more tricky. So I think I mentioned the paths are not created equally, meaning there aren't an equal amount of selections per part. Like there's very few hunt selections and there's a lot of preservation selections. So if you don't know exactly what path is going to provide you, you can actually run past and then be presented with what you have already selected. Therefore, you have wasted an entire run. So what I did is I documented each of my runs, and I have run this thing so many times. Unfortunately, I didn't document when I was just first playing the swarm disaster, and I also forgot to document right here path 5 and 6, but it doesn't really matter. But you can see right here up at the top the different paths: destruction, hunt, remembrance, elation, so on. So destruction, there's 10. Different selections, different parts, but hunt, this is the key one right here. There's only 5 of these, and then you would see over here abundance, there's only 8. So the difference between hunt and abundance is abundance, most of what you can select are in the first plane, so like part 4. So if you're farming or grinding this, that first boss is so much easier. You can just beat the first boss, exit out, run it again, beat the first boss, and so on. So you can see this is on the first plane, that's on the first plane, that's on the second, that's on the first, third, first, and first. So majority of them are on the first plane. It's the hunt. The hunt one, majority of them are on the third plane. There's only 5 to begin with. So this one's on the third plane, this one's on the first plane. If you get this one, that's very good. And then this one's on the second plane, then the rest are on the third plane. So as you're going through this, if at any time you see a hunt, select the hunt, because they are much more rare until you got all 20 of them. After you have all 20, then yeah, start selecting anything else. But yeah, definitely go for the hunt first, because that was my last one to complete. I had to run this multiple times just to try to get the hunt and then reset it, because the run didn't even have the option to get the hunt. And what I mean by that is, let's say you get the Sand King part 1. So this would be, again, first plane, second plane, third plane. So you see there's no possible option of getting the hunt. So once you find out you are in that path, that plane, or that story, if you're going for the hunt, you might as well reset. Or likewise, if you're going for preservation, might as well reset and get on a different path so you can select what you want. So I'm going to keep this up here just for a few seconds. You can pause the video if you want to capture it. I'll probably try to find a place maybe on my Discord. I'll put it, but these are all the different paths and what you can get. And there was one exception here where S means they were selected, so you can select either hunt in this case or abundance. However, this tragedy of insects, there was only a selection of one, like elation, and after you selected it, then you were given the opportunity to select another one. So these three, I just put N for mandatory, lack of a better letter, means you will get all three of those. So if you are on this path, like say you complete part 2, and you're still grinding this out, it might make sense to go ahead and finish the third part, because then you'll get 3 of them. But it's not really worth trying to grind for that specifically. Again, the main thing is to focus on the hunt, and you'll definitely get the other ones while you're just trying to get the hunt. Oh, and again, let me scroll down. Oh, I forgot to highlight that one. Scroll down so you can see which part and which plane will give you which blessing that you can select, or which path. I don't know what they're called. And here's a visual indicator of the stories or the paths that have the hunt a part of it that you can select from. So again, if you're grinding for the hunt, and if you don't see these pictures as part of the path, then just go ahead and exit out, because it's not going to be an option for you to select. So this is the best way of clearing the swarm disaster. So farm it on level 1. Level 1 is by far the easiest until you have the hunt path completed. Then you might want to consider 2 or 3 or even 4, but probably 2 and maybe 3, depends on your account. So you want to be able to 0, if not 1 cycle the end bosses. If you start taking too long, then, well, it's taking too long for you to farm this. And the reason why you want to try a higher level after you have the hunt path completed is you get a little bit more credits. It's only a couple hundred per boss. It's not that much more, but again, you're grinding this potentially hundreds of times, so you can get probably 100,000 extra credits just by doing this. So once you select the hunt path 1, you want to use Dan Heng. Dan Heng is the MVP here. He is probably the best unit. You can probably get away with Jinglu. It depends on your count, but the main reason is because the swarm boss is vulnerable to imaginary damage. So you want a hyper carry team, Dan Heng here, and don't even worry about the blessings as you're going through it. If you see one, I just quickly pick any type of hunt, or I just randomly select something. And also get Kuros if you have the option to give you the free cheat code or extra spins. I'll explain a little bit why, or I'll explain why in a little bit here. But once you get going with Dan Heng, the key thing is the Path of Resonance buff, the Metamorphosis buff in particular. That will allow you to do so much damage, as well as the other propagation blessings, which you will get. You have no way around that. That will let you pretty much one-shot the boss. Then the next key thing is the Path of Resonance that gives you like the extra turn, gives you 2 dots. It goes from 100 to 200. That one will let you pretty much 0 cycle the entire boss if you line it up correctly. Again, get the Path of Propagation. You got to have this already unlocked to be able to farm this. The reason why, again, the Path of Propagation has this dice roll that you can use the cheat code that would let you jump all the way to the boss, skip everything, and automatically collect all the propagation blessings. Once you have that, you'll then get the Path Resonance. So the first one you want to select is the one that gives you the 100 to 200 points, again, because you'll be able to use the path 2 times to be able to one-shot the boss. And the boss has 3 different phases, so that's pretty much a guaranteed to clear 2 of the phases. The next 2 is one is either extra turns for metamorphosis or to do more damage when you're in metamorphosis. I found that these are kind of like equally good. I tend to pick the one with more damage, but I can definitely see if you want to pop the resonance on the first turn, you can get an extra turn, especially if you have the right blessings with Dan Heng to do his ultimate to immediately follow up with his attack. That will pretty much clear the boss out, or you can kill the boss with the attack. Going into the next phase, you still have the metamorphosis up, and then you can either ultimate or attack him again. And then if you get any of the hunt path that lets you do consecutive attacks based off break or killing the units, or it will fill up your energy, that's just icing on the cake. You definitely don't need them, but it just makes it so much easier to clear this. You also don't need this basic attack damage buff. You want to try to get the cheat codes so you can jump all the way to the boss, and if you do that, you're not going to get this buff anyways. However, if you don't get the right rolls, you don't do the cheat codes, then you're going to have to play it through. Then go ahead and get these. If you get these, I would say even up to 60%, say 100%, that means that's only 5 swarm domains you went through. That's pretty much guaranteed you're going to wipe that boss off very easily. So after you enter the plane, if you have an option to pick a curie here, you want to, because you want extra rolls or be able to get the cheat code. If you don't, then that's fine. Run immediately to the end and wipe that unit out. This will open up the device, so then you can go into the next level. You don't need to clear out all the mobs here. And then this is where you use the cheat code. Use the cheat code so you can then select the final boss at the end, and this will give you all the propagation blessing. In this case I had 3. Sometimes you'll have 2, or sometimes you'll have 4. I had 3, so this opened up the path of resonance. If you get 2, that's fine. You don't need the path of resonance on the first boss. On the second boss, it's very helpful. You probably don't even need it either. Third boss, that's when you really want it. So this is where you do your hyper carry. So in my team, I buff with Team Yoon. I try debuff with Silver Wolf because they don't have the imaginary vulnerability. I missed it here, but it really almost doesn't even matter. Now I went ahead, used my Dan Heng ultimate, and then I'm going to buff them with Metamorphosis. Then I'm just going to put my final Team Yoon buff. A lot of times you don't even need that too if you're trying to speed up, because the Metamorphosis is enough to one-shot the boss. So this is the second plane. So again, I select the resonance that goes 100, 200. I then select the one with damage, but I'm thinking maybe the one for extra turn might be better for easier 0 turn, because he's already doing enough damage. But I've been selecting the one with damage first. And again, I normally get all 3 anyway, so I'm not too concerned. Then I usually select the person that has imaginary vulnerability already. In this case, it was Kafka. So this is a 0 cycle run on Kafka, and I messed up a few things here, but I start off like I normally do. Buff Dan Heng, then use Silver Wolf to try to put some more debuffs on Kafka. And then I'm not using my Path of Resonance here because I didn't have the one that gives me the extra turn. That's why I'm thinking maybe the one with the extra turn might be a better one to start off with. So I'm just taking her out with like normal buffs and normal attack damages here. So I should have buffed with Team Yoon, but I'm doing it now. I'm buffing Dan Heng, so that's going to get his ultimate, and then I'm going to use his ultimate onto Kafka, and then well, right here, this is where I'm using ultimate. Then I'm going to pop the path here that will immediately jump him to the top, and then he's just going to one-shot her. And since I have the path again up, just pop it again, and he's going to one-shot her again. Again, very easy clears once you have that Path of Resonance. That's why I say that Path of Resonance is key, and getting that one where it gives you 100 to 200 is very, very helpful. So this is the final boss, the third boss, and I'm going to 0 cycle him, doing the exact same thing I've been doing with every other boss. basically kind of chipping him down a little bit, and then use the Path of Resonance on Dan Heng to one-shot him. So I do let this boss split here just so I have extra of the ads to be able to either fill up my energy or do advanced forwarding. But you probably don't need to do it. It's just I'm not going to go back in to try it out anymore. And it is certainly possible, and I have done it. I have killed the boss before he even spawns those ads and completely took him out before he even did attack. But in this case, I let him spawn the ads and he did one attack. But you can see I did one shot him right here. Now I'm going to, I already have Dan Heng up, so I'm going to end up one-shotting him again on this phase. And then I'm going to pop the Path of Resonance to get the Metamorphosis to one-shot him on the next phase. And right here, I use the Path of Resonance. He has so much damage. He's just going to one-shot him very easily. And that's it. Yeah, I know that was kind of long, but if this was helpful to you in any way, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to see more of this in the future, let me know. I don't really make that much content. I just don't have enough time compared to a lot of other people. But until then, I'll see you on the next one.